Sergio's here, fire burns in his soul. Milan's revival, he's playing a role. Winning mentality, eyes on the prize. Rossoneri rising under stormy skies. Conceição's vision ignites the flame. Milan reborn, but it's not the same. Red bird shadow looms, stakes are high. Yet Sergio's resolve reaches the sky. He's a tactician, fearless and bold, turning doubts to belief, breaking the mold. Top four's the aim, but his heart craves more. Scudetto dreams, knocking at the door. Cigar lit, calming the storm. Pressure builds, but he keeps the form. Does he have the juice? Just wait and see. The leader we need to rewrite history. Does he have the juice to bring Milan back? Despite Redbird's weight, he's leading the pack. Swagger on 10, trophies in sight. Conceição's Milan is ready to fight. Boardroom drama, budget's tight, yet Sergio thrives, turning dark to light. Formation shifts, adapting with speed, building a team that fights and believes. From Porto to Milan, his winning ways, now he's here to rebuild glory days. Players transformed, hearts full of fire. San Siro echoes with dreams that inspire. Critics wonder if he'll rise or fall, but Conceição's answer is to give it his all. Champions League anthem, San Siro roars. With Sergio leading, Milan's ready for war. Does he have the juice to bring Milan back? Despite Redbird's weight, he's leading the pack. Swagger on 10, trophies in sight. Conceição's Milan is ready to fight. Top four's the target, but he's thinking ahead. Rossoneri rising, where legends have tread. Ownership's doubters can watch him shine. Sergio's vision stands the test of time. Pressure's a fire, but he handles the flame, proving his worth in the beautiful game. The future's uncertain, but trust what's true. With Conceição in charge, Milan's breaking through. Juice in his veins, tactics refined. A mastermind coach with a champion's mind. Milan's on the rise, the future is bright. Despite Redbird's weight, we'll own the night.
Hello, everyone. Who's doing the intro? Who's doing the intro? Is it? I guess I spoke first. Will I do it? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Welcome back to another action-packed episode of the Milanistas 360 pods. I personally went missing after the or just before the Supercopa games. I do apologize. I came down with something that was kind of very similar to COVID, so I didn't, exit Milan media because we were winning. Far from it. I was delighted, but apologies I couldn't share the moment with you guys. But that being said, it's very good to be back. Yeah, I guess. All right, we go on to you, Nicko. How's your been? Yeah,
You guys can hear me now. So
yeah, we can hear you.
It's the Milanista Report, not Milanista 360. Apologies
Even
for
better.
that. I was trying to cut you off, but
Sorry.
my mic was acting up. Yeah, my audio was all jacked up today for a minute. Shane wanted to hijack the show.
Sorry.
Good. All right. Milan Nation, welcome back for another Milanista Report. I'm your host, Nicko. I'm joined by Husni and Shane. What's going on, fellas? Obviously, Shane told his bit about his recent fight with some nasty bug. Yourself, Husni, how you been?
Yeah, been good. Yeah, been away from media, similar to Shane, for quite a while. I think the last time that we recorded on Milanistas 360 that I was there was last year. So this is probably kicking things off for 2025. Good to be back. Good that we're on a fresh page. So things are pretty much on a new leaf, and I think we have a bit more energy coming into this year than what we had ending of last year. So that's probably good. And yeah, but yeah, before anything further, I also want to say that yeah, everyone who's been affected by any natural disasters, be safe over here in this part of the world. A bit of floods going on, and I hear also from our fellow Milan brothers in California dealing with wildfires. So everyone be safe, and yeah, we wish everything to return back to normal.
That's much more important than even football, right? At the end of the day, is the safety of our fellow Milanisti out there, and just people, right? Football is secondary. All right, fellas, let's jump into it. Let's jump into yesterday's game, Milan Caligari. All right, I'll start for you, Husni. Did you watch the game?
I did, and I don't want to talk about the scoreline. Everyone knows about the scoreline. I do want to talk about the performances, and I think we can contrast how a Sierra game under Conceição is versus how it pretty much left off under Fonseca. I did see a little bit generally of an improved performance. I like the chances that we had. I didn't see those chances happening under Fonseca. Just a matter that we didn't convert. I would say that we dropped 2 points. Yes, everyone knows that. And Cagliari, they gained a point, because had those, and it was by fine margins, gone in, we would have been actually on a different note, singing probably praises of another win under Conceição. But the way that I'll put it, I don't want to be too harsh. I know we should have taken away the 3 points. Probably not much excuse about that, but being undefeated when under Fonseca, there was always a chance that we might lose that game. Maybe it's a better feeling. So not terrible, but not great as well. How about you, Shane? You want to catch any of it?
I did. I caught all of it. Unfortunately, I just, the main. So there's two main takeaways. It's two items I want to discuss. This is more checking myself. Point one is, so point one was I have been historically a bit negative when it comes to Musa. And there was a point in the game though last night where I just want to point out something very interesting that I'd noticed. It was kind of prior to Fofana's screw up for the Caligari goal. So essentially, Musa had passed the ball off to Pulisic. Musa had then ran into kind of, ran up the right wing expecting the ball was back, right? He was in quite a good position to receive the ball, which would have meant that he could have floated it across into the box. Pulisic screwed up, took the wrong choice. That led to Caligari kind of repossessing the ball, and then obviously Fofana getting caught out. So, yeah, kind of noticing that though has kind of made me realize that we do have, we have something of a kind of a functional attacking player in Musa. So yeah, it was good. It was really good to see that. Long may it last. The problem is we also need a midfielder that can, kind of offer support to Fofana when he screws up, like he did for the Cagliari goal. Reindeers, though, is too.
You can't use the K word, Shane.
Krunic. No.
Do you want to bring Krunic back? Is that what you're saying, Shane? Do you want Krunic back?
That love story's been and gone now. That love story's been and gone, I'm afraid. It'll never be the same. So the second point about this game for me is just how piss poor of a player that Tammy Abraham is. If I'm like just under 2 meters tall, I think he's 1.9 meters tall, right? He's NBA like level tall, right? If I can't head the ball, right, that's a problem. If I'm a striker, if I can't score a penalty, that's a problem. If I'm not offering anything in the build-up play, that's a problem, right? Like the way I see Tammy is Tammy would be a great third choice striker, but the chances that he missed last night, I would be hopeful that a natural born poacher like Camarda would have actually converted them. So, Tammy, I'm sorry, but to be kind of to be filling in the part that you're playing now at this club, you're not at the quality that we need. And to be fair, before people start talking about Morata and how Morata is equally useless, let me just be completely honest here, right? Morata was not signed as a number 9. He was signed as a support striker, right? And to be honest, I think his main sin is he's too busy all of the time doing stuff that's just that doesn't include just build up play. He drops back. He does quite a lot on the defensive side. He's not a lazy player. I think there's definitely a spot for Morata in this team, but he should be feeding that ball to a striker that can score penalties, can actually score goals that aren't tap-ins, that can score with his head, and that isn't Tammy Abraham. He's the weak link in this squad. And to be honest, I hope we cover this later, guys, but Rashford isn't the answer for me either.
Yeah, we'll get that in a bit for sure.
Yeah.
Good points. So, Shane, Husni, this is my take. So I did watch the game. I was working, so I was kind of multitasking, but I was watching it for the most part. Oh, Abdi, by the way, is in the chat. Abdi, be respectful today. Be on your good behavior because I'll block you. No, back to the game. Seriously, though. Listen, obviously, with the Tammy Abraham take, yeah, he's not what we need. He's definitely a weak link. And I think Morata to an extent as well. I mean, he was brought in as our striker. He's fallen back to that number 9 position. All right. And even when we play those 2 strikers up, they're not putting out the same output as even Giroud.
They don't complement each other well enough. This is the problem.
Exactly. As much as we criticized Giroud last season, Giroud was outperforming both of them at his age. That's one. So, 2, what I'm seeing from the club, the differences between Conceição and Fonseca. Not much tactically. He hasn't had too much time to change the tactics or the behavior of the players yet. Maybe a little bit, the motivation, getting to play a little harder, things like that. Yeah, Husni, sure. Shane, you got that right. Okay, he's on it. What I'm seeing a little bit different is obviously the players' behavior. They're actually coming out and saying we want to play for the coach. He's much more demanding. He doesn't take any bullshit from the team in terms of if they're not showing up, not playing 100%. He's going to let them know, especially during halftime when he's breaking TVs. He's extremely demanding from his players. But at the same time, that type of coach, if the wins don't come in, if we're going on a 4-game losing streak, if we're winning 1, losing 1, same thing, that type of coaching is going to wear thin on the players. That only works when you're winning, that type of motivation to your team. All right. In terms of the game itself, listen, yeah, we created chances. We didn't put anything back. We had 20-something shots on goal, I think, something like that, 24. I believe, and that mistake that you mentioned, Shane, as well. Yeah, I'm surprised that Pulisic and Musa didn't link up, right? Because they're in the same national team. They've been playing together for a long time, right, on the national team. I'm sure going up the ranks as well in the U.S. But when that ball was lost, Fofana, I don't know what he was thinking. Was he thinking he didn't want to get a yellow card to not to miss the next game? I doubt that because that was such a bang play. He had Chow and Tomori was behind him. So it's not like if he would have fouled him, he was the last player and he would have gotten automatically red card. That type of play, when you lose possession, especially in midfield, you have to take that tactical foul 100% of the time. Grab the player's jersey, grab onto his back, I don't know, you got to jump on his back and go for a ride and take him down. I could care less. You need to stop that play from happening, from developing that counterattack. And it also falls a little bit on Mike as well. That shot was a good shot. It hit the ground. But was it Mike's fault as well? A little bit, a bit, because I think that he could have saved that. I don't know what happened. It took a nasty bounce off the turf and over his, but it looked bad overall. But it is. We dropped the points. We got some of us got excited over the first 2 wins that we had under Conceição, and rightfully so. There were good wins. We got lucky with Juve. We turned up for Inter. But let's remember, we got a long road ahead of us, and we'll see what happens under Conceição going forward with this club.
Nicko, can I add on that goal? In my opinion, is that I think it was a string of errors, really. Yes, you mentioned particularly what happened in midfield, what happened with Mike, but I'm also a little bit uncomfortable because when you saw it play out, it was a 3-on-3, right? I mean, they were
it was
essentially
pretty much.
Yeah, a man for man, but even man for man, we don't seem to be dominant. I mean, a club like ours, if you're like our defender against their attacker, you should at least be putting up a bit of a fight in that sense. I find it a
Tomori's
bit
not that kind
difficult.
of player, though.
Yeah, but this
That's
is why
the
I struggle a little bit. Is that what sort of defensive superiority do we need that then we can say that we're confident that pretty much it's not going in? That worries me a little bit, and I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
the thing that Conceição, I hope he focus. It's very new to the job, so no one can deny that he hasn't had much time. Defensively, it's that should be the focus, and I hate to say it because there was a moment that I believe that maybe our defensive issues, and we had a good defensive setup, but we really need to go back to the drawing board of the defense. Every single game we're leaking goals. Had that not gone in, we will be fine with like a 1-0, and we say pretty much that's fair. Every Serie A game is not easy, so we should be able to get by with like a 1-0 scoreline. But I worry about this team defensively. Every single game we concede somehow. It's strange.
Do you know what's fucking?
disagree.
You know what's horrific? You know what's horrific is even 2 goals up. If we're in a rare situation where we're 2 goals up, you still can't be confident of a win.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 goals. That's the most dangerous lead in the game, right? Is that 2-goal lead, because you're up 2, but at the same time you're a little bit overconfident.
It's man. Can I just want to go through. So there's a comment there from Abdi. I think it's a good one. Thanks for coming as well, Abdi. Yeah, it's nice to have you, man. Also, Gunardi. Who else do we got? Renee Cumberbatch. Renee, member from the WP Days. Good to see you again, man. Just one comment in particular is from Abdi, just to shout it out. So Tammy did well to get into that position. It's a shame he missed, but remember, he scored our winning goal against Inter. I agree. He did do well to get into the position. However, you could have a paraplegic in the same position that he was in the box against Inter, right? And they'd be able to tap that goal in. It was a tap in. If anything, that was more from Leao being in the right position and choosing the right pass. I think we have to kind of. My argument against Tammy is if you're a striker in any one of the teams in the top 5 leagues, and you're 1-on-1 with the keeper and you can't convert, just like you can't convert penalties, I don't think you warrant a position as a striker in a team in one of the top 5 leagues, and that to me is what Tammy has shown he can't do. As well as that, though, he can head the ball. Camarda can head the ball. I dare say, I believe from what I've seen, Camarda has more of a poacher's instinct than Tammy does. I think the time has come and gone. I think, I'd like to see Camarda playing with Morata. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to come to Tammy's defense a little bit. Okay, 2 things. The one that everyone knows, he is not a high-profile striker in the sense that he's not your star striker in any team, and the
He's
fact
a
that he was at
moneyball
Roma.
player. That's what he is, Husni.
Yeah.
He's a fucking moneyball player.
It's a moneyball player, but the one thing that I really would like to defend him is that you can't deny this. He's hardworking. This I tend to like. I like a little bit, yeah. If you see a striker that's always trying to make the runs, always trying to get a position, fine, he might suck in the 1-to-1, but I appreciate that a little bit. And I want to contrast that with a player that I completely forgot is in our team. When I saw the award ceremony for the Super Copa, the medal, where the hell is Jovic, by the way? Does this
Jovic
place
is-
still exist? Did we just pay for his vacation? Well,
He's still on vacation.
why is he even collecting a medal?
Yeah, I think
Remember,
he does win.
remember though, being from the part of the world he's from, do you know what I mean? Those players are honestly the greatest in the world, depending on if you talk to people from that part of the world. Therefore, Jovic is better than Pele and Maradona combined. But let's be honest, right? At least with Jovic, right? He had everyone knew what he was. He was a panic. Oh shit, guys, we're missing someone in a certain position. This is a deadline day by. Let's just get in the has-been from Fiorentina and fuck it, YOLO, see how it goes.
Roll the
Right.
dice, pretty much.
Roll the dice, right? Just like Tammy. But the thing is, what's even worse with Tammy, I find, is we're losing a player that's showing consistent quality in a position that we have good use for in Salamakers as part of a Tammy deal. See, so
Hang
it's
on.
kind of like,
So you rather have Salamakers back than keep Tammy
Yes.
there? I'll disagree slightly there, but okay, fine.
Well, from my point, I kind of agree with Shane. I think Salamakers was overused under Pioli, just like some other players were, right? I think that's where that fall was on Pioli.
Nicko, you can use the K word. It's fine.
Krunic. It's like saying that it's like the name you don't want to say, right? Anyways, Salamakers was a hardworking player as well, right? I think imagine having him over Chucky right now. I think that's in terms of the effort he puts on the field, he's going to be the same player, and he's won a Scudetto too. He's a winner technically, something Chucky's never done in his entire career. So
Can I add a fun fact there?
What's
Samu has more goals than Chucky.
there you go.
and the best part is Samu, right? Samu wasn't run through Billy Bean's magic algorithm, right? And the hilarious part is Chucky somehow survived the minefield that is the magic Moneyball algorithm, right? Came to the club, has been worse I'm sure for far more money than fucking Castillejo cost. Because then Castillejo cost like 22 million or something back in the day.
That's
If
a
someone
lot
can
too.
confirm that.
Back in that, yeah, I don't know, but even 22 million back in that day, you're talking about that was a good chunk of change.
If someone can confirm, but I'm fairly sure it wasn't like, it was a big amount of money for us, but it wasn't, it wasn't like a club record or anything like that. But I'm fairly sure he still cost less than Chukwueze, and what a fucking disaster of a player he's been. To say that, like, if Salamakers comes back, I guarantee you, right, Salamakers, for once, right, our club PRs could actually come back and say Salamakers is like getting a new signing if he returns back from loan, because he is playing really well this year and he would be like a new signing. It's not like a fucking broken Benacer coming back into the CDM position and then going, this is a new signing, guys, and everyone with a fucking pair of eyes knows that player is done because we ran him into the ground.
We just focus on Benny for a minute too, because the last time Benny came back from a major injury last season, and we depended on him as well. We didn't sell him when we needed to. Didn't even look for a replacement. We needed to. We thought he was going to come back 100%. What happened? He got hurt. So again, we haven't learned our lesson yet again, Redbird, this management. He came back from another catastrophic injury. He's not. He's never going to be 100%. He's never going to be the same Benny ever again. It just does. Those injuries that just start accumulating, right? And instead of in this January market, instead of us trying to sign a midfielder to replace or integrate one of our players for Futura, even though they're garbage, the Futura team. Somebody like Voss, Ozzaroli, somebody to get that, to play that 3-man midfield that Conceição wants to play, right? Supposedly, right? That he keeps talking about.
Because Voss is ready. He's physically ready.
Yeah, Voss, we heard so many things. Everybody was praising Voss to the rooftop. Voss this, Voss that. We haven't seen him play. He hasn't played on the pitch maybe one time this season, if that. So you can't, if tomorrow Benny gets out with another injury, he's out for another 2 months. We're shut out of luck again. We don't have any depth. And somebody mentioned before that on that Fofana play, Fofana was tired. Yeah, but you had some rest. That's bullshit. It's not like these players are out of shape. These are top flight athletes. You have time to recover when you get home from Supercopa. The fact that you're tired, yeah, even if you're tired, you got to find that extra motivation to push yourself to make that play. So
He slept in the office.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, dude, this whole thing about they're tired. Yeah, I get it, but you still in that kind of position, you got to find that extra gear and get on it and make the play. So there's no excuses at all. All right, but the fact that we're not looking at we're instead of us looking for a midfielder, we're looking for strikers, and we'll get that in a minute with the Mercado news. That being said, let's get into the next segment. Expectation with Conceição and from Jerry and the rest. I'll start off with you, Husni. Again.
Well, my personal expectation, I think we'll go far in the Copa. I don't think we'll win it. It is a stretch. Of course, I want us to win it, but it seems the odds are stacked against him. He's probably going to have, try to focus on the league as well. The league-wise, and I was doing a bit of the mental maths and looking at our position and the gap with fourth place, we can probably scrape that through. So I think that falls in line with the what Jerry and his circus want Conceição to achieve. Even if he doesn't achieve it, maybe I don't think he'll get the sack. Somehow I don't think so. That Supercopa went a long way to get him pretty much extended
for Jerry. That's like winning the Champions League for Jerry.
Yeah, and he wasn't there. He's a real shot at the line. He wasn't there. So,
surprise!
Do you remember when we won it, right? And I posted on the chat, the Milanista 360 chat, and I posted, "This is fucking amazing, right?" Because Cardinale, as we speak, is going to make some limited edition bullshit jersey to celebrate winning this fucking pointless trophy. And what happens, right? 2 hours later, it fucking drops, Ben.
Like, marketing 101, baby. Did you buy it? Did anybody buy it?
No, I didn't. I made a mistake buying the 125th. Because
it looks good.
It's this one here. Yeah. It does. It looks really good, which is why I bought it. And I made a mistake after saying here in a couple of pods, they go, not to buy new merch. So I fucked up. But there we go. I'm only human.
There you go. Husni, how about your expectations with management? Do you think they're gonna stick around? Do you think they're gonna back up Conceição at all?
Yeah. So I mean, they've probably taken a bit of a bullet for Fonseca. So I'm a little bit surprised at how well. I know that Ibra took a little bit of the thunder, but he at some points it did seem he was a little bit genuinely apologetic about what happened. So I didn't expect that from him. I thought he would like ego his way all the way until the end and say that, it's Fonseca's fault. Just throw him under the bus and Ibra will remain perfect as he pretends to be all the while. So I give him a little bit of credit for accepting responsibility. Now, the way that I see it with how things are in this club is that nothing is really certain. And I'm dialing it all the way back to our stadium project. So it seemed that we would, in my opinion, be on a good tangent to say that we have our own stadium and that's how we would proceed. But lo and behold, fast forward a little bit from when we had that podcast and talking about San Donato, the projects, and how difficult it is to get off the ground. We're back with Inter and back at San Siro. So you can never really commit to anything with this club. And if that is something that I didn't see coming at that point of time, I would also say that it's also possible that with our management that they may introduce another investor. I don't know about this deal with Jerry and whether that Super Copa probably like reaffirms his belief in terms of turning us into $1 billion revenue club or whatever the hell how much he wants to pay off his loan and or his cocaine habits or whatever it is. Sorry, maybe I can't say that over the YouTube, but
You said it, so it's done.
Yeah.
Purely for entertainment
I take that back.
reasons. That's why
if I
that was
can, I'll
said.
bleep it out. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if come somewhere and there's a bit of a lull in activity that they might announce new partners or new investors and new members of the board. It's something that I do foresee happening. So yeah, one can only hope that then whoever it is gradually takes over control of the club and pushes Jerry out. But until that happens, management wise, probably will stay the same.
Do you know what would be a winner? And it'd be topical and very funny. You know, if Durex started sponsoring us, and think about it, right? If you know Durex,
Oh,
right? Because you could go right. Durex, right, prevents unfortunate mistakes, right? And then if we use that sponsorship money to get a defensive midfielder or a centre back, that would be hilarious. Imagine it.
Yeah, but
You-
I don't think it's a case that we start for cash, right? We have the funds now. We have the funds, and Conceição's performance from the Super Copa essentially paid his salary, so that in some way is free. So and with all the loan deals that hopefully get that work out, that the money should be there. So I don't see what is the issue. Now, the one thing that does worry me a little bit is that I do feel one of our regular players will be sold. If you ask me personally, Liao, I don't think they have it within them to extend him further. Theo, if he does extend, this will probably be his last before he leaves. And at some point, players will get sold. I think another big name is on the chopping block.
But you see, do you know what? A lot of people don't seem to be focusing on. So in the summer, right, we're officially going to be free from the financial fair play. You know that, like the sanctions that we were under.
Yeah, not anyone that gives a shit except
Yeah,
us,
yeah, yeah. Because like officially this summer, like we're out of that, so we can do what we want. And I'm not saying that should cue going back to, no, it won't anyway, right? Because Redbird. I'm not saying we should go back to the financially irresponsible days of Yang Hong Lee, right? But hopefully that means that they have a bit more room to maneuver when it comes to actually buying quality players and not fucking rejects from the Premier League. You would wonder.
And you have faith in that?
No, not under this ownership. I have faith that there'll be some poxy limited edition fucking something or other come out, to boost the coffers. But in terms of getting we need. I don't like putting a price on players, right? Because you can get great players for free. Ask Inter and about Thuram, right? You can get great players for free, but we can't really. We have to stop messing and fucking around when it comes to looking for a striker. We have to spend serious cash and we have to get a good one and a guaranteed starter. Because it's painfully obvious where we're fucking up here,
There's a ton of holes, right? Besides a striker is is the first one, right? One of the many. But I would have liked to see Kamada, like we mentioned before. Why wasn't Kamada played yesterday? Even say 15, 20 minutes.
Just
Right.
even let's pretend, right? And you know where it made sense to me is let's pretend, right? You know that attempt or the cross came in for Tammy. And Tammy was just because he's a fucking NBA player, right? If you pass that to a normal player in terms of size, right, that's hitting their head. But because Tammy's that bit taller, it kind of hit him in, kind of half chest, half shoulder, and then he fluffed it, right, which is fine. Camarda, probably that's on his head, right?
It's
And
shown
we've
it.
seen exactly,
Yeah.
and we've seen that Camarda is a fucking beast with his header because he scored that offside in the Champions League, right? So that's one goal, right? In terms of his finishing, with everything that I've seen from him, right, I would assume, right, that he would finish that 1-on-1 with the keeper as well. But and I agree with Abdi a bit on his comment here as well. He's like, we were unlucky yesterday, man. We created so many chances with Fonseca. We weren't creating chances like that, right? I agree totally. Because this team were not, they'd swipe left on Fonseca a long time ago. I think even as soon as he took the job, I think that the players weren't listening to him. Ref is a disgrace. We should have had a penalty. Caligari didn't come to play. Caligari, right, are trying to not get relegated. A point against Milan for this Caligari team is like 3 points.
Especially away too.
Especially away, right? You know what I mean? They didn't come to play. But the thing is we can't be in a position where we're blaming the referee for not getting 3 points against a team that's 17th in the league. If we're calling ourselves a serious team. Do you know what I mean? I think refereeing decisions aside, we should have had more than enough quality to be. I said it yesterday, right? Remember? I was like, I think we're going to win this 3-1. And that was in like the 60th minute. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, something has to give. But unfortunately, the striker is such, and why I'm saying that we need to prioritize a fucking striker, like an old-fashioned a poacher, fucking, recreate fucking Pippo Inzaghi somehow, right? And put him up top, right? Because literally you just need someone who can score one-on-ones, absolutely fine. He'll hang on the shoulders of the keeper, whatever. He'll be offside 10 times a game, but when it comes to one-on-ones, he will score. Because Tammy's not that player, and Tammy is, when looking back at this season, right, I'm not confident that we'll get UCL, especially with results like this. And it's players like Tammy being on the field that we will be responsible in the end of the day for us not getting there, because he's taken away a position from someone who can perform. This is the problem. And I'm also going to fucking, obviously Royale will be a huge part of that. I was delighted yesterday to see Jimenez come on in that right back position. And I was like, Conceição, you've answered all my prayers, because that's literally what I wanted to see for the last God knows how many months. Instead of, like, we know we have two piss poor players in Calabria and Royale. We don't have a right back, right? Use the youth. Jimenez to me, right, even if he's playing an off game, he's still far more productive and proactive than Royale or, Calabria. And he's worth the mistakes. I'm telling you, there is a fucking serious player in there when it comes to Jimenez.
Did you see that play with him yesterday when he got into the box? He ended up getting the yellow card for interfering with the keeper. But there's a kid's motivation. He has the intelligence to make those runs.
That's it, and that's what I think. That's what Abdi was referring to. Was that the other chance? Because if the chance I'm thinking about, wait, the chance I'm thinking about with Jimenez, was that where he was more than entitled to go for that ball.
Yeah, he kind of got pushed into the keeper
as an attacking player.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, the yellow card or not, the kid, you could tell he's looking to create chances, right? He's way more dangerous in the attack. That's what Conceição is looking for as well from that position.
And here's the thing, right, Nicko? Like, if I boil it down to its simplest format for me, right? I'm a simple man, right? I'm a simple man that likes simple things, right? But if I can tell that Jimenez looks like a football player, right, and Calabria or Royale don't. Do you know? That's literally the acid test for me. Jimenez looks like a football player. He looks like a capable player. Tammy doesn't look like a football player for me.
You know what that means,
Yeah.
Shane? We're selling Jimenez and we're
Probably,
keeping
yeah.
Tammy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Jimenez might end up going back to Real Madrid anyways at some point.
Yeah, because he's a very favorable clause. Isn't it something that, like, if a team comes in for him, Real have right to first refusal or something like, or first, they have right to put in a bid as well or something stupid like that.
I think, yeah. Because they're in need of.
Yeah, we just got
Well,
scammed.
no.
If a player comes from Real
Yeah.
Madrid, we got
No,
scammed
because
somehow.
Real are
Doesn't
such a
matter what it
well-run
is.
club that they knew that they were they were destroyed when it came to Teo Hernandez, right? They've realised their mistake and they've acted accordingly because they're a serious club. We're a club that sells half sells Kalulu to our direct competitors and then wonder why we're fucking in 8th place. There's levels on things. Do you know what I mean? Like us and Real Madrid, there was a time, right, in the early 2000s, right, there was a time where it was us and Real Madrid as the two biggest teams in Europe. That was, right, everyone remembers those days, right, and it was us and it was Real. Those days are long gone. We are not a serious team anymore compared to that team. We're not.
Come on, it's us and Bologna now.
Oof. Shots.
That's it.
Before we get into the next segment, we dive into my expectations of Conceição going forward. I think, regardless, I think he could push us to the top 4, regardless if he gets backing from management or not. I think he could definitely get these group of players together to push the top 4, and I'd be happy with that. I'm not going to be extremely happy, but I'll light up a cigar in his honor if he gets to the top 4. All right, that's to be an accomplishment with this fucking team. In terms of the players that I want him to see using, being that he was with Porto, he played a lot of young players. I do expect more from Jimenez. I do expect to see Kamada a lot more as well. And I'm hoping to see Gabi back on the pitch. I'm not sure what's happening there. I know Gabi was sick out with the flu. I know Conceição got some players sick because he was walking around with a fever over there in Saudi Arabia the other day. But he was out yesterday. I do want Gabi to play. I think him and Chow have shown they're the best center back pairing that we have. So I hope he's not being swayed by the talk that Tomori is a more complete center back. But we'll see. And in terms of
Tomori was so complete, we were about 3 days away from selling him to Juventus.
I don't know what's going on with that. Honestly, I have no idea why Tomori's. Maybe they want to show Tomori off to other team. That's why he's getting more playing time right now. I don't.
No, they've come out and they've said since Conceição, since the new coaches came in. They basically said that they're seeing that he's compatible with the system and he's showing like his best qualities in training, so that now they want to keep him. Tomori,
good stuff. Well, I think as a backup he's fine.
Yeah,
as a backup, but we've seen it before. Long term, Gabi is he's much more focused. We talked about Gabi to length, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Another thing I do expect as well is better defense tactics from him. It's getting to teach his players to make the right play, to be in better positions as well. So that's what Conceição. In terms of from Jerry, I don't expect anything from Jerry at all. Except that him pushing his American marketing schemes and everything else we've seen. And in terms
to be fair, right? If you believe, I don't know why you would, but if you believe the media stories, right, Cardinale was actually the one responsible for Fonseca getting the chop. And
I think that's smoke. I spoke about it in my last pod. I think he's using that to protect himself from the fan base.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't trust anything that comes out of anybody's mouth in Milan, except for Scaroni. because he's just senile. He's fucking senile. He'll say anything.
He's so old at this point, man. You know, like at a certain point, I just want to reach that point in life where you're just so old that you just don't give a fuck anymore. Really, you're just like, ah.
Yeah, he's gonna be dead in a couple of years. He doesn't give a fuck.
It's all right. I'm still getting paid at the end of the week. You know.
Yeah, exactly. He still has that president label. He's still the president of Milan, right? At the end of the day. Oh, Alex is in the chat. He's a Interista. Alex, good morning to you too, bro. He's a good dude. Yeah, he's been on the show before. And in terms, one last thing before we jump into the Mercado rumors is Ibra, Forlani, Moncada. I expect nothing. I expect him to continue with the same old stuff, putting just nothing. I don't expect them to be really backing up the manager at all. And just more stupid comments from them as well. I don't expect anything different going into this
magic baseball algorithms.
Which is frustrating because I that's the one thing that I want. If Jerry's going to save face a little bit, and he'll never have my 100% backing ever, is him to do the right thing and get rid of all of them. Not right now, because that's a tough thing to do right now, middle of the season. But in the off season, to reevaluate and say my employees are not meeting my requirements for this team to be competitive. If he really wants to be competitive, and just say top four. Forget about Scudettos or winning Champions League. That's not going to happen for a while. But just to be top four, he needs to get rid of Ibra and everybody else.
But you know, like Forlani though isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean, man?
Forget Forlani. But put people, if you really want this coach to be successful, and not talking about just getting players, you need to put people in place that know Serie A, that know Calcio, that know how to deal with other teams within the league, that have good relationships with other teams, not just with French teams and Real Madrid. And also know how to look for talent within Serie B, Serie C, and the small teams in Serie A.
Sorry, Abdi. Alex is also on 2 stars and probably going to win the league this season too. And not concerned about a Mickey Mouse Cup, just for the record.
A lot of us have been looking at Inter's downfall since last season. That didn't happen. Last season, a lot of fans that we know was. What did they say? Oh, Inter's going to drop. Inter's going to fall out of the Champions League. They're going to lose. They're going to be financially broke. Yeah, listen. Yeah, their president was financially broke. The owner was, but not the club. What have they done since? They're sitting on top of the league right now. They're one of the favorites to win Champions League again, if you look at percentage-wise. So we should just worry about ourselves, not worry about what Inter's doing, what Napoli's doing, what Juve's doing. Worry about our own fucking house.
Yeah, but the 7 UCLs, I get it's good to refer back to the past, but when you have to refer back to the past like that so often, it shows
how far are we going back to the
career.
past? Fellas, Husni, Shane, what was the last time we won the last Champions League? When was it? 2007.
2007, yeah.
How long is that? Almost 20 years. We're going
Jesus Christ, I'm
like yesterday.
Yeah.
There's a point. Listen, there's got to be a point. Just like let's put into American sports perspective. That for some American, like the Yankees, right? Winning club. They won a ton of trophies. They won. I don't know how many World Series. The most accomplished team in Major League history, right? In baseball. And recognizable as well in terms of marketing. You see the Yankee hats all over the world. Even if somebody doesn't know who the Yankees are, they have a hat. All right. And shout out to Jay-Z for making that happen, right? Jay-Z was one of the first ones to kind of blow that up. But the last time they won a World Series has been a while too, right? 2000 something, I want to say. Do you think Yankee fans are proud of that? Can Yankee fans say, oh, but we won. Look, what have you done lately? But it doesn't matter what you did 20 years ago. What have you done in the last 7 to 8 years?
Yeah, because, it depends on how far back we want to go. Because, even look at it. Nottingham Forest have won the fucking the equivalent of the Champions League. So it's kind of, I bet you their fans still celebrate that. But the thing is
But
who the fuck supports
they're a
Nottingham
small
Forest
club.
these days?
That's not enforced. We can't be, we should be expecting a lot more for the club, right? At the end of the day.
But what I'm saying is we
Yeah,
can't
but
be living on
unfortunately,
history, though. This is kind
No,
of why
I
I'm, you know what I
100%,
mean?
100%, but 100%. But you see it with some fans, and listen, some fans can do whatever they want. I'm not that whole thing. If they feel a certain way, they want to keep referring back towards our Champions League trophies and things like that, our past history. So be it. But I think I could say for myself, and I can speak for your Husni and Shane. I think we feel the same way, and most people in our chat is how far do we want to go back on this? There's got to be a point to say, okay, forget what we did 20 years ago. What are we doing today?
Yeah.
one other, if I can say, accessory to this, digging up the past is that, and I saw it just yesterday. I don't know why the club posted about Romagnoli, about the 7 years that he's been with us. So they posted a reel on Instagram. I don't know why the media team for the club had to do that. I don't know what is the purpose, but I don't get what was the reason behind a lot of things and how we promote. But yeah, I agree with you, Nicko, is that you always don't talk about the recent success and and you're right. In terms of how our little family is, that we always look at the trajectory. Where do we see us ending up at the end of the day? And yeah, that's not in holding the UCL
No,
trophy,
because
whichever stadium it
and
is.
this is the thing. And Abdi, I just want to be clear on this as well. Like, I always want what's best for this club, and I want us to win everything, right? Here's my argument, though. Even if Cardinale does exactly what he wants to do when it comes to implementing Moneyball, right, we will not be capable of winning anything of merit, even if we implement it correctly. Do you see what I mean? Because Moneyball, it means that you have to sell players. So we'll have to start selling like some crown jewels at some point, and then replacing them with other Moneyball players. But it's not going to lead to long-term success. So my concern is with this is, even if Cardinale does exactly what he says he wants to do, which is he wants to win. On the other hand, you could also kind of look at it and say, well, the system that you're depending on to win is not, you're depending on Moneyball. So the two of them are not compatible at all. I just want to rephrase that though by saying it's not compatible if you're a serious team. If you're Atalanta, or if you're, no offense to Brighton and Hove Albion, if there's any fans out there, a solid project, done really well. Your credit to the league, whatever. It's kudos. But there's zero expectation on Brighton, Hove Albion, or Atalanta, for example, to win anything, or Lille to win anything, or even if you want to expand it a bit, look at Arsenal, right? Arsenal have been moneyballing since Moneyball was Moneyball. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what's the last fucking thing they've won? What are they expected to win? They always come just short. They never win anything of note. Like, I mean, the last time, I know they had a couple of Premier League titles under Wenger, right? In the, at the end of the 90s, early 2000s, right? But, they've never really won anything. Like,
Especially under the new project, they spent a ton of money under this new project with, that they have right now. Arsenal. They did pick up Caligari.
But I think it's a ton of money to them. I'm still saying is like they're still moneyballing. They're just moneyballing in the EPL where there's a higher.
Yeah,
what I mean? Because they've always done this. Do you know what I mean? They've always been very much a well-run financial club. Do you know who else is well-run in terms of finances? Notoriously so. Tottenham Hotspur. When the fuck have they won anything? This is the concern I have. It's not that.
And Shane, on your point about Jerry wanted to win, but what is his idea of winning compared to the fans and to everybody else? That's the difference, right? Everybody has different levels. There's levels of expectations of winning, right?
Because this is the thing, man. But a Super Copa, right? A 2-game competition he's worth very little.
But
A two
for
game
Jerry,
company.
that's the right there. That's the season for him right there for some people, especially for the ownership. I think if they can finish top 5, top 6, and win and claim we won the Super Copa against our cousins, to them that's winning. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like for Jerry and maybe other people in management, that's winning to them.
But
winning to them for the next few seasons is being top 4.
Abdi, I can't see a top 3 finish just because we're so far behind. I can see sneaking in 4th place is the best that we can do if we achieve that. Just because mathematically, we're going to need about 45 points to realistically finish in the UCL spot from now until the end of the season. And I don't see this team like top 3. You're talking about 55, 60 points. It's not possible. Definitely not. We don't have the players. We just don't.
Task.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's get into the Mercado rumors. So obviously there's a lot of noise about certain players. The first one is Lorenzo Luca from Udinese. So this is an interesting profile, being that he's Syrian, Italian, up and coming striker, and there's some talks that we were interested in him. All right, I'll go with you, Husni. What are your thoughts on Luca?
Luca's name has come up before,
Yeah.
I think, when he was playing in Serie B. So he's not a new name for us. They didn't pull the trigger then. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger now. The way that I see it, and I agree with what Shane was talking about, is that we need someone who's ready-made. If you want to talk about a striker that maybe hasn't made a name for himself, I'd rather stick with Camarda, to be honest. So, and I don't want our usual targets, which is the rejects, the has-beens, the cripples, the cons. Who else am I going to throw in there?
The fake Brazilians.
So I don't want those regular guys. I mean, we need someone who's not to say overly famous, because just we can't simply afford them, but there are players there that have a name for themselves. And I give you one example. But okay, this is reaching a bit far because of what happened to him personally. Sebastian Halle, I thought was a good option, but yeah, unfortunately, I know he has his medical issues that took him back a bit, and I think he moved to Germany to play for another club. I mean, that level of player that not terrible but not great, and we've taken a similar sort of gamble on that with Giroud. Morata, I know that's probably the direction that they were going towards, but I've never really rated Morata highly, like ever, regardless of what he did at the Euros. So yeah, I think with Luka, not gonna happen. I think he's a good player, but someone else probably gonna snatch him up.
I think
with a
Gasper's
higher
gonna snatch him
transfer
up. I
fee or
think
salary.
Gasper's gonna lock him up like he always
Yeah.
does. And Morata,
That's probably the way to go. If I was him, I wouldn't come to Milan.
Shane.
How about you, Shane?
It's hard to get excited about Italian players. I can't remember what they look like at this point because it's been so long since we've had any. Except Gabbia, that's harsh on Gabbia. Calabria, fuck him though. So, yeah, just echo what Husni said, right? I think the issue here is that, again, we're kind of past the point. We are at the shit has hit the fan moment already in the season. Blame Fonseca, blame ownership, blame whoever you want. But at this point, we need someone that can actually step in and start banging in 15 goals for us. Or 10 goals, right? Luke is not going to give us that. I couldn't give a shit if Atalanta are after him. He's not going to be that player. We need someone that's kind of more established. I mean, who was that kid that was over in France? Canadian dude.
Oh, Davis.
Oh,
Jonathan
yeah.
Davis. David. Yeah, he was playing.
Jonathan
He was
David.
playing at. He was playing at Fonseca's old club.
So at Lille, right?
Yeah, Leo. Yeah.
So give me just one quick second because I want to see, right? I want to see how he's doing this year. And just to see if he's fallen off. So, okay, so for 24-25, so far this year, he's played, this is including in the Champions League, by the way. He's played 28 games and he scored 17 goals.
It's a nice output.
And that's 6 games in the Champions League and 4 goals. That's the level that we should be going.
I think consistently he's been scoring
has.
every season, I think.
Yeah, that's the kind of if a player for me is scoring 4 goals in 6 Champions League games, that's the player we need to be going for, man. Do you know what I mean? Because we've seen how it's been kind of testing out some of these kind of lower level Serie A players, and Luka can become the thing, right? He can become a great player, but we don't have time this season to wait for him to do that. We have Camarda.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We have Camarda that fucking, that we're still waiting on. We can't be waiting on Luka as well because all the same, like, we need David at this point. I mean, his fucking record speaks for itself. And he's available for, like, what is it, 30 million? I mean, for a striker, that's well within the realms of Moneyball, guys. Fuck it, he's the player that we need. Like, he's a free agent this summer. Rene Cumberbatch was saying Jonathan David is. So he's probably going to go for less than 30 million in this window if we buy him now.
But I'm sure there's some big clubs that are looking at him as well. Definitely. There'll be some stiff competition, like always. Yeah. We'll come in with it.
So forget it.
We're going to do the same thing we did for fun. We're going to offer a little bit under.
Yeah.
At the beginning, trying to and see if Leo bites, and then we'll end up losing him out to somebody else. And I can't see Barca signing him. How the fuck is Barca going to sign anybody? You couldn't even sign Olmo.
They can't even sign their own players. They can't.
Dude, the amount of shady shit Barca does. I think Atletico came out the other day. Madrid, Simeone. He doesn't care about speaking his mind. He came out and said something that kind of in regards to what Barca's been up to. How Barca gets away with all this shit. They never get fined. They end up finding loopholes in the system.
Political reasons for that.
Yeah, I wonder how many suitcases of cash they're sending to the officials over there in Spain.
It's political reasons because all that jazz with Catalonia and stuff like that. Barcelona cannot fail because there's reasons why they can't.
All right, next name up, Rashford, Man U. Who wants to go first on this one? Oh yeah, Husni,
I'll go first. Yeah. Rashford, I do rate him quite highly, by the way. So in my FIFA career, one of the first players that I ever bought was actually a Rashford. But keep in mind that was probably like FIFA 18 or FIFA 19. So a big amount of time since that version of FIFA. But that being said, is that he's an offensive-minded player. He isn't that old. So when I say he isn't that old, meaning that he isn't that young as well. So he should be at the prime of his career, but being apparently shat on by.
He's about 27.
Yeah. He's hit his peak. I think he's at his peak right now.
Yeah, he should be, but but that's why I'm a bit surprised that at his age he's getting shat on by his club. So that's probably not a good sign. But then, as everyone online asks and knows, where would you actually place Rashford? Now, I thought a little bit about it. So him being on a left winger, fine. Yeah, he can be there. But then where does that leave Liao? Then I thought back to Liao's early games, when he first joined the club. He was the second striker, the support striker in the 4-4-2. I don't know, and I probably don't think Liao can go back to that version. So that's a concern for me. So if they do bring Rashford, I think it's probably 70-80% of it marketing somehow. Then the rest of it maybe for his ability. He's not a bad player, but I just don't see much value in the deal. So how about you, Shane? You think the same?
Knowing that we're working within the realms of Moneyball, nothing about this deal makes sense to me because it seems like he's kind of a replacement for Okafor. But the thing is with our rigid wage structure, we cannot afford a player like this, with his salary to be like a backup to Leao. Because he'd be on more money, right? Even if they sweet talk Man United, right, he'd still be on more money than our highest paid player, which is Morata. Nothing about this deal makes sense. And again, we're going for these he's very much a money ball player because I think what they'll try and do is deploy him as a striker, right? And then see how he goes. Meanwhile, seeing how he goes, instead of us getting, like I'd said, Jonathan David, who can bang in the goals probably straight away. We know he's a Champions League player, a Champions League level player from his goal output this season. So therefore, if Jonathan David is a Champions League level player, Jonathan David is 100% a Serie A level player, right? So instead of going for a ready-made player like that, we're going for this guy, hoping that it works out. And purchases like this, he will be directly and indirectly to blame, just like fucking Royale, just like Tammy. They'll be indirectly to blame for us not reaching UCL at the end of the season. And then we're wondering and we're going, who do we blame now? Right? Because you can't just really blame the players because they show up and do what they're told to do. If they have the skill set or not, that's the difference. But that's not intrinsic to the player showing up or not. They just do what they're supposed to do. But we're going to end up without any UCL at the end of this season if we continue this, let's try this bullshit, right? We're going to have to end up selling a stable player, right, to balance the books, right? And then as soon as we do that, we're going to turn around and remember the Cardinal is a fucking asshole again. So, Rashford isn't the answer. Even to replace Okafor. Okafor can go, right? And there's no distinct difference to this team because, if you look at it, right, Pulisic more often than not fills in for Leao during the same game. Do you know if they take Leao off, Pulisic just switches over, and the way that management are seeing it is, we're a bit stacked on the right side. So therefore, where the fuck does Rashford fit into this? The only place that Rashford fits in is if we have infinite money and if we want a replacement for a right wing, left wing, support striker, a guy that can do all three relatively effectively. We don't have the money for this. It's a fucking dumb decision. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it's at the risk of missing out on a fucking serious striker that can get us into the UCL like Jonathan David. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. I think we can all say with 100% confidence we're not landing somebody like Jonathan David's level on this club anytime soon at all. And my take on Rashford, I don't see him how he's fitting either. First of all, he's got a bad work ethic. He's known to give coaches difficulty at Man U. That's an issue. His personality could be a problem, right? That's the first thing. 2,
he likes partying though and getting smashed on a Friday night. So him and Theo would link up really well.
Yeah, and Calabria and the rest, they'll fit in right there with that crew.
That's it.
And get wild and crazy in Milan after hours. And personally, I don't like the idea of Rashford as well. Forget about the personality issues and things like that. But in terms of what we need right now, he's not going to move the needle and move us up, to that next level we need to be at all. So, we can, like I said, if we're going to stick with it, let's give Kamada. I'd rather give Kamada a chance going forward and see what he does. He's our own player. He bleeds red and black. The kid, he grew up with the curve of suit, so he's a Milanista like us. He's one of us, right? So I'd rather him get a chance. If we're not gonna seriously go after a real striker, give Kamada a chance. Give him a real crack at that starting role and see what he does. What do we have to lose?
Just
I really have
a quick one, right, Nicko? want you to comment
yeah.
on this one. Ciao boys, love the show. Thanks, Josh. Conceição's approach to communication is very direct, and I believe his football will reflect that directness. Well, we're seeing the results, but that's a very valid point, though. Very true. As for the players, it's time to buy in 1,000% or leave. But the thing is I think the players have bought in. Josh, just for me, I think the problem is it's the quality of the players, even if they bought in or not. What do you think, Nicko?
I think the players have bought into a system. We've seen, well, what they're saying publicly, right? That they bought into a system compared to what Fonseca was saying to them, right? Even Leao was very public about that. So we have to believe what they're saying. You can see on the field, they are trying more. They're being more direct with their passing. You're seeing differences on the field a little bit. From a tactical point of view, you're not seeing too much of a change yet. Because, like I said, Conceição, he's limited with the players that he has, and he hasn't had much time to really get his game plan across to them. It's going to take time. But I think his biggest thing is the way he's going to motivate the players, right, long term. I think that's his biggest strength as a coach, which goes a long way in winning those tough games. But we'll see. How about you, Husni? What are your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, well, they don't really have a choice. That's the thing. So they better be on board. And it does seem that Conceição is quite firm. So they maybe a little bit more pressure to toe the line a little bit. They can't be, expecting barbecues from Conceição like what they expected from Fonseca, right? I guess his farewell was a bit early.
All right, next name up is, I'm not going to be trying to pronounce this kid's last name. Not in a million years. Saba. He's a center back. Let me pull up his profile here real quick. Let's see if he's the right one. No, this is not it. There it is. Another kid from Empoli. Saba. He's a center back. Looking, according to Milan Matters and some other sources, we're looking to sign him and leave him at Empoli for the remaining of the season so he can improve. Have you guys looked into this player at all? I know he's a pretty unknown player.
He's Georgian.
Yeah,
He's Georgian. That's all I know. So
he's a ready-made Kaladze. So I think that's all we need to know, guys.
So I did read up on him a little bit, just some scouting reports. So the kid's he's got a lot of work. He's a unproven player. He's a project player pretty much. So I don't know how this fits with us. He's definitely not like Pavlic. He's not going to take anybody's heads off. He's not going to injure any players in training, which is a good thing, I guess. But is this the kind of player that we really need? If they're seriously looking at these players, granted, we had Simic, who was one of our own, who could have filled that position that we're looking at. We got rid of him. So let's keep that in mind.
Hey, Kalulu as well.
Cool.
The concern that I have with this rumor, I generally hope it doesn't happen, because one of the things that we lack, and I compare it to that Scudetto winning season, or even the season before that when we were on the upward trajectory, I don't really see a leader in defense. So I think of the times when we had peak Kier, and Kier by no means he was like fast or anything, but I thought he knew how to get things organized. He was directing people. This is what needs to happen. I'm here, and
He
all
made
that.
Tomori look like a player,
That's the
Husni.
sort of character.
That's how good he was.
Yeah. And that was our default partnership, right? Tomori and Kia, until he got injured, then he became Tomori and Kalulu, and he just continued that way. So we need somewhat of a leader in defense, and I think that will go a long way towards helping with the goals that we're conceding. So this kid, I don't know enough about him. Empoli are not doing too great, so I don't know how much money ball went into the stats behind this kid. I don't think it's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't happen.
On your point about not having a leader, we do have a leader in a sense. Gabi is that player, I think. Gabi has shown it, right? Even though he's young, doesn't have the experience to say somebody like Kerr or let's say somebody like Hummels we were looking at, right? That would have been a good fit for us to release senior leadership. He does have that calmness about him, something that Tomori doesn't have in Chow. So I think Gabi, if he's given the chance, and we'll see going forward if he's going to lose his spot out, but I think he's the future in terms of that backline leadership role that we're looking for. So, but yeah, like I said, this rumor makes no sense at all to me. How about yourself? And we'll get to the next one, Shane, after this. Get into the Kyle Walker rumors.
Again, I think the main point about Rashford, Luka Gochliedze, or whatever his name is,
close enough.
Yeah. So the main issue with these is again, I'm all up for looking towards the future, right, with potential players, but it's kind of what we need right now, and none of these players are it. So it's like, who cares really? Who cares? Except, the last one, which we're going to cover now. But yeah,
let's get to it. Kyle Walker's the latest one to drop. Latest news. That says it all right there. You can just cut this.
No, sure as hell hope not.
Yeah,
Not good enough. Nothing about him is outstanding, and that we should, or any club with a mind should be looking at. I mean, if he thrives in the Pep system, leave him there. He said he wanted to leave. Okay, he can find his money elsewhere.
Sugar Shane.
So Luka or Gochliedze, right? I'm treating these two separate, right? But for the likes of Rashford and Kyle Walker, a metric I use for players to tell me if they're serious or not is, are they likely to go to the Saudi Arabian League? If the answer is yes, they're not a serious football player. So I have a feeling that Rashford and Kyle Walker will probably end up in the Saudi Arabian League. And that means that they're not serious football players, and therefore they're not good enough to show up for us as a club. So therefore this guy is the same. I think he's had a holiday for the last God knows how many years at Man City, winning title after title after title where they're kind of expected to do it. Champions League, fair enough, well done. They finally won that after spending infinite money to get it. What a great achievement. No one's seen it coming. But yeah, just go to Saudi Arabia, fuck off with yourself. Honestly, him and Rashford are both the same. And it's completely... I don't think people understand this as well, right? But like the likelihood of the likes of Rashford or Kyle Walker coming and what that would mean in terms of our wage structure, it makes it so fucking unlikely. Because can you imagine these two guys, right, that are completely untested in the Serie A getting paid more than Leao?
Oh, come on, Jay. We just importing the entire Premier League. We can have an entire Premier League lineup, by the way. Tomori, Rashford, Walker, Tammy. Who else?
But you know what's funny
Fine,
about that, though,
Pulisic.
Husni, right? We're getting all these English players, right? And not one of them could even start for the England team, as bad as it is.
I think Walker lost his spot too now recently in the last couple of seasons. Right?
That's it. So we're getting the England B team.
No, what we're turning into is the fucking, like, not just Saudi, but we're turning into the MLS. MLS is where these European great players go to retire. That's what we're turning into. If this continues, if we sign players like this, I mean, are we really? That's the idea. Is that the idea of Jerry is to be that kind of club? I mean, and from my point, from more tactical point of view, right? For a second, Kyle Walker is another player that relies on his speed. All right, to make up for his mistakes. Similar to Tomori in a lot of ways. He's out of position, and he makes up for that lack of awareness, defensive IQ, by his speed and his physicality, getting physical with the wingers and pushing them off the ball. But at the same time, that dude's getting older too. I think he's like 34 right now. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's losing a step. So even if he was, forget about wage. Say if he made made sense for us business wise to pick him up. Is he gonna be such a big upgrade from Royale and Calabria? Slightly, this much, but is he a long-term fix? No, because of his age. One, forget about money structure. I could care less about cash. That's Jerry's fucking money. I don't care. But is this the kind of player that we really need? Why can't we go after a right back that's young, right? Promising, somebody who's talented.
Italian.
Can have or talent like a talent. There's quite a few Italians. Even the center backs too. There's a few center backs in Italy that can play for us tomorrow. That'd be a good addition. But no, this is what we're looking for. All right. And even during the offseason, we were tied to more EPL right backs as well, besides Royale. We're fixated. Jerry has this hard on, all right? Because just the time we got beat from what was it? Who beat us in the Champions League? Which
Chelsea.
Chelsea. When he saw Chelsea's speed and physicality, Jerry got a little excited. He goes, "That's what I want to do. That's the team I want to be. That's the team I want to emulate, is fucking Chelsea." And no disrespect.
That's not it, Nicko. Jerry only has subscription to the EPL, not to the Serie A, the league that his club is in. That is why he watches.
He should go buy a fucking EPL team then.
Couldn't afford it. He can't afford fucking Milan, right?
Yeah,
He can't afford
that's right. I
fucking
forgot.
EPL.
He's broke as fuck. I forgot. My bad. So we could say with like 100% confidence that none of these players do anything for us. It doesn't get us excited. It's not moving the needle, and it's not a long-term fix to any our fucking problems going forward at all. So,
I got a conspiracy theory for you. If we have all these EPL players and we have a lot more English players than Italians, does then Jerry say that okay, fuck the San Siro Stadium project? Let's see if we can register the club in the EPL. It will start from like the Championship, and we can work our way upwards to the Premier League. Then make some serious money.
No, Milan will become a feeder club for Jerry's new club, Wrexham. That's what'll happen. I'd actually watch that TV show, as embarrassing as it is.
That's an interesting story. I mean, God bless them for Wrexham for getting promoted and stuff. I mean, it's a good story, but
do you know where Wrexham is?
I have no idea.
Do you know where Wales is?
Yeah, up north, all the way up there.
It's up in. It's exactly so. So Wales is next to England, pretty much. So you know where Ireland is, right? It's like way off in the sticks, right? So Ireland, and then you have a little country to the east of Ireland, right? That's in the UK. That's Wales, right? So the reason why I'm mentioning that is, despite how small the country is or how small Wrexham is, it is more likely for me that Wrexham will win a Champions League than it is for Milan under Moneyball.
That's the take of the year right there. Okay.
There you go. That's the only reason I mentioned it.
Right, Carmelo's in the chat. What's up, Carmelo? What's happening?
There's another player that I was eyeing on, but I think we missed out on in a big way, and he signed an extension. I wouldn't mind having Dalot back, actually.
Who?
Oh, Dalot for
Dalot.
Man U.
Yeah.
Question though, guys. I know, look, we've a bit to cover, but just a quick question. If we got Ricci from Torino, do you give Redbird credit, or you just go, it's still not enough? What do you say?
Still not enough. I tell you what, it's not balanced enough, because he defensively, as much as like Ricci, I think he was a better, I think, more complete player than him right now. Who's a better fit for us is Ravella.
Who?
Ravella.
Oh, Ravella. Yeah, okay.
I like him, but listen, both would be good signings, but the chances of Redbird making that decision, he's signing one of those players. There you go. Big fat.
We'll get some guy with one leg from like the French second division, and then we'll wonder why the fuck isn't it working out, and then we'll go, oh.
I mean, there are rumors that we're looking at some other French midfielders too. If we're talking about French players.
Imagine, right? Because you know what will happen, right? I can see it happening is the Serie A will get so pissed off at what's happening with Milan, right? They'll pass a law mid-August, and they'll probably say, oh, you need at least 4 Italians in the starting lineup. Oh, by the way, Milan, off you go. And then we'll panic and we'll have to get 4 Italians from somewhere.
We'll just promote kids from Futura team just for the hell of it.
That's it. Yeah, that's true, Carmelo. One thing isn't good enough. I know it'd soften my opinion for the cunt that is Cardinale, though. If he can just do one thing right and then build up some shit on top of that, you know. Anyway.
So, guys, next one. So, Fadinho is one of our avid listeners. Subscribe. He's one of our. He's in our chat as well. Milanista 360. He put this long this fucking poem together. Not poem. This story together. He wanted me to read it out to him for everybody. Happy New Year to all. With the new year comes a new coach. Welcome to Milan, Conceição. I've often criticized Milan's management, particularly the decision-making under Fulani as CEO. Appointing someone with no leadership, business, or sporting expertise has led to poor decisions focused solely on financials, not football or business strategy. So just point out, Fadinho always has a ton of stuff to say online. Fadinho, if you're listening, I think it's time for you to get your own podcast because you have a lot to discuss, a lot of things to say. I think it would be a good thing for you to get things off your chest. Continuing to compensate for his inexperience, Rolani formed a committee with Makata and Ibra, neither of whom had relevant experience. Meanwhile, Maldini, a legend who brought Milan success, were dismissed for obstructing Jerry's vision. Under Fulani's leadership, the club has regressed, wasting money on a poor Mercado decisions and hiring Fonseca, a coach unfit for the role. Instead of addressing the mistake early, they waited to sack Fonseca in December to save on his severance. Fans' delusion with the management's failure are now calling for Cardinale to sell the club. Milan deserves better. Husni, Shane, your thoughts on that? Oh, quick.
Bravo. It's a great synopsis.
Yeah. Powerful words. I don't disagree. But yeah, I mean, as much as we can complain and point out the things that we don't like about Redbird, and yeah, even the chat is covering it. It's very limited in terms of how we can make our voice or our displeasure felt. So yeah, it's a bit of a, not by all members, of a boycott about buying merch from the store. I'm a bit guilty, and yeah, not just Shane and I'm sure there's others that we feel a certain way about the ownership, but when it comes to certain drops, we also drop our money. So
I can't drop on anything, fellas. It's too expensive to get things shipped over here. So, that's my excuse.
Well, sometimes they have some offers about free shipping though.
Good point. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Fadinho, good words, strong words, and I'm glad to see Curvis finally getting the hang of it, and they're expressing their feelings as well. I don't know if it's going to change anything with Jerry. I don't think Jerry gives a fuck about us or Curva. He cares about.
My problem is with the Curva though. I think this is 6 months too late. I think if you see management is going in for Lopetegui, and then they're rubbishing that due to fans uproar, which it never was. I bet you was to do with salary, but anyway, they're rubbishing Lopetegui and then they're going for Fonseca. That like you should see from that hold on, what levels are we trying to operate in here? You know what I mean? We're dealing with West Ham level and we should be looking to get into the semi-final of the Champions League if we're being serious. Do you know what I mean? I think the Curva seriously sat on this for way too long. Like, the warning signs were completely there. Yeah. Anyway.
Husni, anything else before we head out?
Yeah, I also want to echo Shane's statement about not the Curva, but this a segment of fans, and they are very quick to accept that the management and what they do are in the best interest of the club. And with what happened with Fonseca, it's been proven to be otherwise. But that in that breath, I
It's
also want to say
almost
that I
like
don't
they're
think
getting
it's
free
fair.
tickets from ownership.
How dare
Yeah,
you
but
say that?
I don't think it's I don't think it's fair for them to be on the management side and slate fans who think otherwise. So everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and it's not nice for me to say, but I'll say it anyway. I guess they really found out the hard way what happens when you blindly support decisions, and you don't consider the opinions of others. And it's not about I told you so, but yeah, it's clear to see that just because someone owns the club, it doesn't make them the best person to know what's going on and what to do. Right? People make mistakes, and again, I'm coming back to the point that I give Ibra a little bit of credit that he admitted it at some point, even very faintly. I wouldn't think he wrote a one-page apology, but he admitted it very faintly. But it's getting there. We make mistakes. Let's pick ourselves up, and I keep repeating myself. I want to be wrong. I say a lot of things about this ownership, about this management, but I want to be wrong. Go win the league. Prove me wrong. Prove a lot of people wrong. But yeah, until that happens, I hate to be right. Yeah, so that's really my takeaway.
All right, you Shane, then I'll go. I'll go my closing comments. Shane, anything else before we head out?
No. Just fair dues to Fahadinho. That was a well-written piece as well. Completely echo what you said. Just it does encapsulate the current situation that we're in. Make no mistake, though, guys. Just from me, I've said it during this podcast. I've said it through many other podcasts. I just want to reaffirm my current understanding. Even if Cardinale's vision for Moneyball works out, it is not going to lead to long-term success for us. So just remember that. Moneyball is the issue. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, fellas. Just a quick shout out to the other podcasts out there that support us, and everybody else in the chat. Everybody subscribe to the channel. We're up to, I think, 174 subscribers, so we're slowly moving up the charts. Appreciate everybody's support. And just my last comments, feelings about the current situation. Just like Husni said and Shane said, I do agree with them 100% on their points. And I think going forward, this can go two different ways with this club and under this ownership. Either one, we go down the Liverpool way, and the owners, because they're American as well, all right? I think even Jerry has a small percentage of Liverpool as well. He owns a small percentage of that club. The difference is Liverpool has put the right people in place, put a right coach in place after Klopp left, right? And has put the right people in place on the sporting side. We can go that direction going forward, or if Jerry doesn't open up his eyes and make the necessary changes within management by this summer, we can end up going down the Man U way and rotate coaches every few years, keep selling players, but without Man U's budget. So
Yeah,
that's
see,
why
it's the
which is scary to me as well.
constraints are the issue here, right? Because if you think about it, I agree completely with what you said, Nicko. But when you think about it, right, Liverpool have made a couple of fuck ups along the way, right? But they've had a softer landing because of the money bags that is the EPL, right? It's going to be far more harsher if we do the same kind of level of fuck ups. You know what I mean? In the Serie A being what it is today, it's not good.
And that's all I have, guys. I think I've said my point. I don't know how many times on the show. So everybody that's tuned in today, locked in, appreciate it. All right. Husni, Shane, it's always good seeing you guys too. And always Forza Milan.
Forza Milan, everyone.
Monza, everyone. It's
Have
never
a
too
good
late.
day.
No one
Forza
will know
Monza,
we support this
Forza
Impact.
Fiorentina.
Forza
Krunic.
Krunic.
See you,
Forever.
Brett.
Later.